Today I'm giving you quick fire, bite-sized reviews of the fragrances I've received in PR and the fragrances I have purchased with my own money over the last few weeks. These are perfumes that I have been trying out, I've been testing them, and I do have some thoughts. Some of them you may have already heard of, some of them I've already done videos on, but I wanted to consolidate everything I've received recently into one video and just give you some information. So if this is your first time on this channel, hello, my name is Anya. I love fragrances and I love talking about them here 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. I also do videos on TikTok and content on Instagram as well. And I did recently launch a podcast called The Fragrance Report. So if you're interested in any of that, you can check that down below. To be completely honest with you, I actually filmed this video before and I didn't realize that my microphone wasn't recording. So I want the audio to be good for you guys, so I am going to just refilm this, and because I've been sitting here for a while and I have other videos to film, I'm going to make these bite-sized clips of my reviews on these fragrances because I don't want to sit here talking about the same thing over and over again. So if you want to learn more about these fragrances, feel free to ask me about it, but I think most of these perfumes I have talked about in some way, shape, or form, but I want to make this video as informative for you as possible because not all these fragrances are going to be ones that I've loved, but I do think all these fragrances are good contenders for different types of people. So I hope I'm able to provide value for you in this video with that in mind. So let's go in no particular order and start off with a fragrance that I absolutely love. This was actually one that I wore today as my fragrance of the day. This is Arielle Shoshana Tuesday. Now, Tuesday is a fragrance that I knew that I would like because I have tried all of the Arielle Shoshana fragrances before and I really like / love all of them, so I knew I would resonate with this perfume, but I didn't realize how much I would become obsessed with it, to be honest, because this is like your perfect tea fragrance with mint and a bit of coconut milk, I think, but it also does have a lot of power to it. So despite all those notes, and those notes are usually in fragrances that are a little bit more fleeting, this is a powerhouse. Like, it's strong. I wore 3 sprays of it and I can still smell myself, and I sprayed it on at 8 o'clock this morning. It's now 2. I can smell this perfume. It's a potent fragrance, and I did do a full-length review on it, and I still love it. It's absolutely beautiful. Arielle Shoshana Tuesday, definitely check this out. The brand also has a discovery set available on their website. They have 5 fragrances so far, and I really think you should check them out if you haven't already. Another fragrance that I did receive in PR is totally different. This is Chabaud Mon Tiramisu. If you like tiramisu, if you like gourmands, this is one to try, especially if you like lactonic fragrances. This fragrance literally smells like a tiramisu, but what's nice about it is that it smells like a perfume version of a tiramisu. You smell this perfume, you smell the tiramisu, but it's not so photorealistic that you think you're actually, sitting in front of a tiramisu. This is lactonic, but there is some biscuit note in here. There's some cocoa. Is beautiful. I really, really like it. Chabaud is a Parisian brand. They tend to do lactonic fragrances, and I really do like what they have so far. I've tried almost all their fragrances, and I really do like their take on a lactonic note. They also have a discovery set available for some of their perfumes if you're interested in trying them out. They do pretty hefty decant sizes in their discovery set too. I think you can get like 10 milliliter sizes of their fragrances if you so choose. And I do have a code available with them. It's my affiliate code Anya10 if you want to receive some money off. But I really like this, and if you love gourmands, but you still want something that smells like a perfume, this is beautiful. Next, I have one of the most popular fragrances right now. This is Kayali's Yum Boujee Marshmallow 81. I did a full review of this, and in my review, I did say that I love the way this smells, and that is very much true. Even now, I love the way this smells. It's beautiful. It's such a photorealistic, powdery strawberry marshmallow. It's mind-blowing how realistic this smells. But what I don't like about this is that the fragrance itself is very fleeting. What do I mean by that? It stays on throughout the day, so I can smell it, but I don't smell it consistently. So sometimes I smell it, sometimes it goes away. Sometimes I smell it, sometimes it goes away. And that kind of drives me a little bit crazy because I want to be able to smell my fragrance. I want to be able to lift my wrist to my nose and smell the perfume, especially if I sprayed it on enough times. And I find that even with overspraying this fragrance, it still comes and goes. And I think that might have to do with my nose as well. but I'm not sure if this is the fragrance for me. If they come out with an intense version, I'm gonna be all for it. But for now, this is a little bit too light, and I think it was meant to be a skin scent. And I see how this would be a good skin scent. And I know that Kayali, they do their fragrances so that you can layer them. And I see how this could be an amazing layering fragrance, but I like this fragrance so much that I want to be able to smell it more, if that makes any sense. And whenever I wear this fragrance, I like it, but then when I kind of lose the ability to smell it, I'm like, I want to smell it, I want to smell it more. And it kind of drives me a little bit crazy. A little bit. So that's just my honest consensus of this. I think that it lasts very well on clothes and fabric, but as a personal preference, I prefer mostly wearing my fragrances on my skin. So that's why I get where the hype is coming from. This is a beautiful fragrance, but it's just not ideal for me. And I did buy this, by the way. I bought it with my own money. So there you go. So another fragrance that was actually sent to me is Roos and Roos Song for a Queen. Now this is like your quintessential white floral perfume. There's actually orange blossom in here, but this fragrance to me smells like a tuberose prominent perfume, even though tuberose isn't actually listed in the scent pyramid. What is listed though is vanilla, and this is kind of like a dry, non-gourmand vanilla, so you smell like a slightly creamy, maybe even woody vanilla at the base, especially as it dries down, but you also smell white florals. So if you like white florals, this is definitely a good one to try. I think it's a very elegant perfume. I think it projects beautifully. And actually today, what I did is I wore it with Tuesday. So Tuesday I wore on my neck, and then I wore this on my wrists, and I loved that combo. So far I think this is a really good option. It is a little bit of an older fragrance. It came out a little bit ago, but I've been learning about this brand and experimenting with them, and I was curious about trying this fragrance, and I'm very glad I did. It's one of my favorite white floral perfumes that I've tried lately, so I think it's a really good one, especially if you like those classic white florals. I don't know if I have a discount code available with this brand yet, but if so, it's literally going to be Anya 10. It always is, but there you go. This video is going by pretty quickly, not gonna lie. Usually I like to chit chat a little bit more, but I mean, I want to be able to film other things than just this video over and over again. But this next one is one that I did purchase. This is Majestic by Belgravia Scents, and this matches my outfit. But this is essentially a Middle Eastern brand with a presence in the US. They're expanding in the US, and this particular perfume is like kind of, I think there's oud in here, but it also is like a vanilla, like a gourmand, slightly spicy, wintry, appropriate vanilla, and it's a really beautiful perfume that stays pretty linear. It's like a syrupy kind of sweet vanilla, but nothing too overpowering. What I like about this is that this is actually really good for layering because it stays consistent, it stays pretty linear, it doesn't shift and change as much. So this is really good for layering, and I've been using it as such. So it's a good one if you want to go for an affordable, basic vanilla perfume. Nothing too basic though, because this still has the complexity of like a resinous vanilla with some spiciness. Like I think it smells like almost like a hint of cinnamon. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's a cozy vanilla, great for layering, pretty affordable. This bottle cost me around $80. I really like it so far. It's really good, and I'm curious to try more from this brand, so you might be seeing more of them on this channel. A fragrance that I did receive in PR was this fragrance by Neydo. This is Blonde Redhead, and you might have already seen this pop off on some other people's pages. This was a fragrance I was curious to try. I'm glad I did, because this is actually a pretty complex and interesting perfume. It's a moderate performer. I actually do think this would be a good office fragrance because it's nothing too loud, but it does stay on. This perfume smells like lime, like zesty lime in the opening, but the dry down is where it gets a little bit more complicated. So you actually have dates in this fragrance. You have some florals, you have myrrh, chocolate, I think there's vanilla as well. So with those notes, you kind of expect it to be like a fragrance that's like a little bit heavier, and it's actually not. It's a lighter fragrance, but it's more moderate in my opinion. But what really stands out to me is that this perfume very much has a prominent white tobacco note. So it smells like tobacco. And if you haven't smelled a tobacco fragrance before, you might not know what it smells like. So maybe try this out. I don't know, but this is like a good beginner-friendly tobacco because tobacco is there, but it's supported by the other notes. For me, tobacco is one of those notes that sometimes I like it, sometimes I'm like, not so much. With this fragrance, it kind of switches for me. Sometimes I really like it, sometimes I'm like, okay, it's nice, but it's not a love. And that's because of the white tobacco. I'm really iffy when it comes to tobacco. That's a personal preference. That's something I'm discovering. For me, tobacco kind of like overtakes a fragrance sometimes and it kind of flattens a fragrance. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's literally my interpretation. But I do think if you want to try some of these heavier notes like dates, myrrh, um, it's actually kind of difficult to find those notes in fragrances without the fragrance being super intense. And this is actually a lighter version of a fragrance with those notes. So if you want to dip your toe into those notes and you want to try them out, this is a really safe way to do it. And I've never smelled anything like it. It's very unique, but you have to like tobacco to truly appreciate this. And it's not like the tobacco makes it a bad fragrance, in my opinion. Totally not the case. But again, that's my personal opinion and my interpretation. Um, so yeah, I have been wearing this a lot. I've worn it like 5 times, and I like wearing it with other scents as well, layered. It's a pretty versatile fragrance. But again, you have to really like tobacco to appreciate this one. Whenever winter's coming, I literally want to wear leather fragrances all the time. So that's why I'm really happy to have this fragrance by JUS. This is Cuirissime. This was sent to me, and I was curious about trying it because not only is the bottle super unique looking, but the fragrance notes themselves totally up my alley. So this is like violet leaves, um, musk, what else? Leather and violet. Yeah, I think there's violet in here as well. It's like a slightly powdery, very elegant, clean leather smelling fragrance. This is what I picture someone wearing if they're wearing a black leather jacket and black leather pants. I get this fragrance. Like, this is what I think about in my head. This is a super clean, very elegant leather fragrance. If you like leather, you will like this. I do recommend trying out JUS's Discovery Set. I don't know if this fragrance is in that Discovery Set per se, but I do know they have this fragrance available in a travel spray format. My code Anya10 also does work on pretty much everything, so definitely recommend getting the travel spray at least to see if you would like this leather note. I really like this. I've been wearing it a lot. It has been getting colder outside, so I've been gravitating towards cozy fragrances like this. And this actually projects very well, and the longevity is pretty decent. So I really like it a lot. So Curisme by JUS Parfums. So next up is a fragrance that I literally have been falling in love with for the last few years, and I'm so happy to have this in my collection finally. This is Bloody Wood by Liquide Imaginaire. This is a wine fragrance with additional notes of raspberry, cherry, and a very woody base. You have sandalwood, and there's also rose and violet in here as well. I love this perfume. It literally smells like bubbly red wine. A lot of people really think it's a pretty woody fragrance. I smell the fruity notes in here. It's not just the woods to my nose, but it's a very unique perfume. The fragrance brand is inspired by alchemy, and this has been on my wish list for quite some time now. And it's one of those fragrances that is like, it's an older perfume. It has been around for quite some time, but I was always like telling myself, oh yeah, I don't really need to buy it because there's so many other newer fragrances that I should, be talking about, be reviewing on my channel. But to be honest, if you have a fragrance that you really, really love, let this be an inspiration to you to just buy it anyway, no matter what. Like, even if no one's talking about it, get it. And this is one of those perfumes that is kind of under the radar. I think that people who know this fragrance really love it. And for me personally, as someone who likes more unusual scents, this is like amazing to me. I love this perfume. I'm so glad to have it in my collection. It's like almost like a tart wine fragrance. It's so beautiful. I love this perfume. It's really, really interesting. I've had decants of this forever, but I love this fragrance and I'm excited to try more from this brand. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this video. Those are my quick fire unfiltered reviews on the fragrances that have entered my collection over this past few weeks. I hope this was useful to you and that you found it enjoyable. Just to give you a little bit of a recap if you're unaware, whenever I do receive PR, it's always without any obligation to post. So I do not have to post about the PR I receive. It's just a gift that the brand sends me. I do have affiliations or affiliate codes available with a lot of these brands, but I literally do not have to even feature these fragrances. But I do feature them because I think it will be helpful for me to communicate to you what these fragrances smell like, because some notes might be more prominent than others, and even though I might not love every single fragrance I receive, I still want to give you as objective of a review as possible so you can take that information and then use it to identify whether or not that fragrance will work for you. So for that reason, I do hope this video was helpful and I hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you so much for watching till the end, and I will see you next time. Bye!